bike. Oh god. I can't match with these guys. They're on leader bikes. But the bike feels really cramped. It's the seating position is superbly aggressive. The handlebars have a somewhat downwards slant, which makes it even harder. I mean, this is a bike that avid track enthusiasts prefer, and I think the seat height's going to be okay if you are anything about 5'6". It's not a very high bike. Like, it's not one of those very tall seat heights. I wanted to do a 300 kilometer road test on this bike, and the owner was kind of skeptical, and now I can see why. Because that kind of a distance on this type of a bike, especially with a heavy backpack that I'm carrying, would be really not that comfortable. If you're buying this bike to ride slowly and sanely on the highway, just don't buy it. There are a lot of better bikes. Ducking down with a fairing. 177 kilometers. People on the definitely needs a taller double bubble screen. It's when I open my hands and stuff, and that's where I can actually understand the motorcycle and how the power delivery is on the highway. Honestly, you don't miss much up on the tank. Okay, I think that was enough to understand what this motorcycle is capable to do. See, I don't want to push beyond a certain point and just risk everyone's lives here. I had a little open stretch. I understood what the bike does, and let's just talk about it. It's very smooth all through the rev range, which means when the power is building up, it's building up linearly. So you know what to expect. What you get out of 100 to 150 is the same sort of acceleration curve that you're gonna get when you're moving from 150 to 200. So that kind of gives you that confidence. Even if you're new with this bike, and if you've ridden other bikes, then you would be feeling that confidence to go up and just open the throttle. I'll just show you how it works. Now this is fifth gear acceleration, so it wasn't that strong. I probably should have downshifted a little bit, but here it goes. See, what's happening over here is I kind of have that confidence, and of course now we're testing the brakes. Amazing brakes, right? So I have that confidence because I've already used the brakes on this bike. I know that it'll slow down. So if you feel that you're gonna get one of those situations where you need to slow down and drop speed very quickly, then trust me, this bike will do it. And if you lock up, there's obviously the ABS system that is non-intrusive. I don't think I've used it yet, but I believe that an ABS system on this kind of a bike is what you can trust. And trying to go always front brake only, rear brake. Well, since the ABS is there, you might try, especially if you're confident doing that. I am not. I prefer using the front brake only. The only time I've used the rear brake is when I'm braking on naked bikes. And shifting lanes and all that's pretty easy. So this feels really amazing. I kind of like what it does. The bike takes a very good line, and that's it. It's really nice. Starting up on the 2017 Triumph Daytona 675. This bike's now discontinued in India and it belongs to him. That's sort of from Vegas Fashion. Clutch in. Sounds really sweet. This is a stock exhaust, by the way. One of the best sounding stock exhausts. Believe it or not, he doesn't have a motorcycling channel. He has a men's styling channel.
Handling is a real pleasure on this motorcycle. It is very easy to set it up into the corners, but then again it follows it up with great mid-corner stability, and thanks to that great on and off throttle transition, you can pull out of the corner pretty easily and throttle it out. If I have to say something bad about it, well, I'm not really familiar with this ergonomics, and the bike feels really one size small.
Okay, people, that's bad.
I'm having a little difficulty anchoring myself to this bike. And also something is that for a lightweight rider like me, I'm 5'8" and about 60 kgs. I'm having a little difficulty anchoring myself, and the suspension I feel should be set up differently for a lighter rider.
Since this is a sport bike, I'm gonna ignore the rear brake altogether and talk about the front brake, because I usually don't use this rear brake unless I'm panic braking on a straight line. I have to really stop. There is ABS that's standard on this bike, and this doesn't have any other electronics, by the way, only ABS. Now it's got the quick shifter, so that's an additional electronics aid that he has installed, but in stock form the standard version doesn't come with this quick shifter. The R version does, and I guess I'm alright with that. A basic traction control system would have been nice, especially since when you lose the grip on your tires, specifically when you're using old tires, traction control can come up to be a very handy feature. Or when you're riding in the wets, having power modes helps. But this bike doesn't have any of that. It's all natural. You have to manage the 120 odd horsepower on your own. There is no rider aids for you to depend on. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with depending upon my own skills to control this horsepower. But you know, people who lean into the corners really hard, they might actually prefer having a traction control system. But the power in itself is very manageable. The throttle response is obviously instantaneous, but the delivery, it doesn't really scare you because it is a rapid bike. It is a rapid bike, but the delivery is kind of smoothed out to be okay. It's kind of difficult to talk because I'm managing a lot of things here. There is a truck sitting in our lane. Oh yeah, the quick shifter. Oh my god, this is powerful. This is powerful. This is kind of a bike that if you want to ride a liter bike and you're not really comfortable, you're kind of scared. Though these days liter bikes do come with a 600cc power mode, which is like the mode C. I think most liter bikes that I've ridden recently has it. So a lot of people actually prefer buying the liter bike and just putting it to mode C, and then when they can manage it well, they can actually move it to mode B, which is like the full power of a liter bike with a little slower uptick. Down low when I'm accelerating to 100, it doesn't feel that much different to a liter bike, but afterwards when I'm moving from say 140 above, there is a little bit of a difference. So Daytona doesn't actually have a Euro 4 or a BS4 compliant version, so they decided to discontinue the bike. Specifically, this is running the old 675cc triple cylinder inline triple engine configuration that is known for Triumph, and it's a very smooth motor. But the new version is a 765cc that's gonna be on the Triumph Street Triple. The reason I'm riding this bike is because I wanted to ride the Triumph Street Triple next. One of my friends has it. He has already got the delivery. We're just waiting for a few days and we'll shoot that review. So I just wanted to have a good impression on this bike so that I can compare it with the new engine platform. And I've already ridden the Street Triple for a short ride that wasn't really that conclusive, but I was really impressed for the little time that I spent with it. And this bike, Triumph is no longer interested in selling, so the next year we might have a Daytona 765. That might be a pretty good contender for those who like super sport. But I can completely understand why the matured world markets like European markets and US markets are moving away from super sports. Yes, there's a amount of wind protection that you get on these bikes, but to be very honest, that wind protection isn't worth the sacrifice of this over aggressive riding position, especially if you're not taking this bike to the track.
So after riding this bike, it's finally time for the verdict. I was really pleased with several aspects of this motorcycle. How sweet the power delivery was. The on and off throttle transitions were near perfect. The brakes worked well. And the engine had such a nice refined feel that I've found in very few motorcycles. So if you ask me 3 positive things about this bike, I would have to say it's the refinement, the nice power delivery, and the premium fit and finish that you'd expect from such a product. If you ask me about 3 negative things about this bike, the first will obviously be the ergonomics. I definitely think that Triumph should work about it, because this is not a track only bike. They're selling it as a street legal motorcycle, and for street riding I don't necessarily think that people have to be that uncomfortable and in such a riding position. The second thing is the lack of electronics. Now I don't want to talk about it too much because in the next version they will definitely address this issue, since the new Street Triple RS already has state-of-the-art electronics, so the new Daytona will also have it. For the third thing is obviously the looks. This was quite a looker back in the day in 2011 and 12, but right now it's 2017 and it's kind of looking dated. The new bike should have better looks, but as far as I know, the new bike's also coming with the same looks, which is something that I don't agree with. I think Triumph should have worked on a new design, especially since it's a new platform and a new engine. So do let me know your thoughts about the motorcycle, and if you have any thoughts about the new bike looking almost the same as this. Thanks for watching, and remember, it takes us a lot of hard work to make these reviews, so if you just hit that subscribe button, it helps us in a really big way. This is Rahul and I'll see you very soon.